What if the greatest love story of your life was interrupted not by death, but by the cruel, unyielding march of history? Imagine standing on the sun-drenched streets of 1930s Madrid, the air thick with the scent of orange blossoms and the electric tension of a society on the brink of collapse. You are young, idealistic, and deeply in love. But then the civil war erupts, shattering the peace and forcing you to flee across borders, leaving behind everything you hold dear, including the person who holds your heart. This is the poignant and sweeping premise of Por si un día volvemos, If One Day We Return, by best-selling Spanish author María Dueñas. If you are looking for an audiobook that will transport you through time, from the vibrant intellectual circles of pre-war Spain to the dusty exile communities of Mexico and the complex political landscape of post-war Europe, this is the listen that will break your heart and put it back together again. Dueñas masterfully crafts a narrative that blends historical rigor with emotional intimacy, forcing listeners to confront the enduring power of memory and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of displacement. The story follows Victoria Delgado, a bright and ambitious student in Madrid, who falls in love with Manuel Aranda, a passionate journalist. Their romance blooms against the backdrop of a city teetering on the edge of chaos. But when the war breaks out, their lives are torn apart. Victoria is forced into exile, navigating the treacherous waters of refugee life in France, and eventually finding refuge in Mexico. There, she must rebuild her life from scratch, working as a teacher and raising a family, all while carrying the weight of a lost love and a lost homeland. Manuel, meanwhile, stays behind, facing the dangers of the conflict and the moral compromises of survival. The novel spans decades, tracing their parallel journeys and the silent, aching hope that one day they might find their way back to each other. It is a story not just of romantic love, but of love for one's country, one's culture, and one's identity. What makes Por si un día volvemos such a compelling audiobook experience is its lyrical prose and the rich emotional texture of the narration. Dueñas writes with a sensitivity that captures the nuances of grief, longing, and hope. The audiobook format enhances the sensory immersion, allowing listeners to hear the cadence of Spanish speech, the rhythm of Mexican markets, and the quiet whispers of memory. The narrator's voice brings Victoria's internal monologue to life, capturing her strength and vulnerability with equal measure. You feel the heat of the Andalusian sun, the chill of the Pyrenees crossing, and the humid warmth of Veracruz. The contrast between the vibrant, chaotic energy of Mexico and the nostalgic, melancholic pull of Spain creates a dynamic atmosphere that keeps you engaged. The soundscapes described in the book, from the clatter of typewriters in newsrooms to the silence of empty apartments, are rendered with immersive detail, making the listening experience particularly transporting. The historical context adds a layer of gravity to the personal drama. Dueñas does not shy away from the complexities of the Spanish Civil War and its aftermath, exploring themes of exile, identity, and the fragmentation of a nation. Victoria's journey mirrors that of thousands of Spaniards who were forced to leave their homeland, creating a powerful sense of collective memory. Her relationships in Mexico, with fellow exiles, with locals, and with her own children, add depth to the narrative, showcasing the resilience of the human community. The character of Manuel is equally complex, representing those who stayed and struggled to maintain their integrity in a fractured society. Their separate paths highlight the different ways people cope with trauma and loss, making the eventual convergence of their stories all the more powerful. The pacing is steady and evocative, with Dueñas balancing the slow burn romance with the urgent realities of historical events. The plot twists are emotional rather than sensational, focusing on the subtle shifts in relationship dynamics and the passage of time. Just when you think Victoria has moved on, a letter or a memory pulls her back to the past. For fans of The Time in Between, El Tiempo and Tricostudas, All the Light We Cannot See, and The Nightingale, Por si un día volvemos offers a similar blend of historical detail and personal drama. It is a story about how history shapes us, but also about how we shape our own destinies through the choices we make in the face of adversity.